It began with a question, an insidious whisper that coiled in the quiet hours of the night. Is this real? Owen didn't want it to be. He didn't want to track the data points, but the instinct was primal: quantify the ache, measure the void, prove the growing emptiness wasn't merely a trick of his own anxieties. So he counted. 9 rejections, whispered into the void of 17 days. 8 weeks. 8 long weeks since his wife, Dana, had last truly wanted to be close to him. Each time he dared to voice the creeping distance, the conversation twisted, contorted, until he found himself once again labeled the problem, the one asking too much. Yet, the true ending to their marriage wasn't a fight, but a smile. A soft, untroubled smile from Dana, declaring that things felt better this way, that this was how it should be. Owen didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply started to pack. This is the story of that silence, and the reckoning it brought. For 4 years, he and Dana had built a life. A solid one, on paper. A row house in Federal Hill, 2 decent incomes, a routine that hummed with predictable rhythm. Dinners together, evenings on the couch, weekends filled with errands or city exploration. Normal married couple stuff. He clung to that normalcy, even as a quiet shift began, a gradual drift so subtle he didn't recognize its depth until the shore felt impossibly far. The first crack appeared on a Wednesday night in late September. The exact date blurred now, but the sensation remained vivid, a cold, clear memory. They had returned home from work, made dinner, discussed their days, watched a show, nothing out of the ordinary. As they prepared for bed around 11, Owen reached for her. A gentle touch to her shoulder, a kiss to the back of her neck, the simple affection that had once flowed between them like breath. She pulled back instantly. Not tonight, Owen. I'm just not feeling it. He withdrew, a familiar apology forming on his lips. Of course. She settled into her pillow, asleep within 15 minutes. Owen lay beside her, eyes fixed on the ceiling, already calculating. This was the 4th refusal in recent days: Monday, too tired; Tuesday, a headache; the previous Thursday, stress from work. He mentally traced back, searching for the last true intimacy. 6 weeks. It had been 6 weeks. He told himself it was a phase, a temporary dip everyone experienced. He wouldn't be the one to make it a whole thing. The next night, he tried again. They just laughed their way through a comedy, relaxed and close on the couch. It felt like a natural moment. He leaned in, kissed her. She returned it for a fleeting 3 seconds before pulling away. Early client call tomorrow. I need real sleep. Dana had client calls multiple times a week. It had never been an obstacle before. He said okay, rolled over, and added it to the quiet tally accumulating in his mind: 5 rejections in 8 days. Saturday offered no work, no meetings to hide behind. Owen invested the evening in effort, cooking a proper dinner, lighting candles, playing their favorite music. They talked, laughed, and enjoyed each other's company with a warmth he hadn't felt in weeks. Heading to bed, a fragile optimism bloomed. He made his move, gentle, affectionate. I ate too much. I feel bloated and uncomfortable. She'd eaten a normal portion, had seemed perfectly comfortable throughout dinner. He tried to convince himself she truly felt unwell, that he was overly sensitive, that he was misinterpreting things. But the truth was hardening inside him. By Tuesday, October 3rd, the quiet evenings were devoid of stress. Owen attempted a simple cuddle, not pushing for anything, just seeing if proximity might spark a connection. Not tonight. I'm getting a headache. She took nothing for it, didn't mention it again. 20 minutes later, her breathing evened out, deep and peaceful. No sign of discomfort. 7 rejections in less than 2 weeks. Almost 7 weeks without intimacy. The shape of something he deeply dreaded was becoming undeniable. Friday, October 6th, he decided directness was the only path. Not confrontational, but honest. Dana, it's been a while. I miss being close to you. Can we just talk about this? Her response was swift. I'm stressed with the campaign launch. The campaign had concluded 3 weeks prior, successfully, she'd boasted. He paused, absorbing the absurdity. A month-old project, still generating enough stress to keep him at arm's length. But more than the excuse, it was the guilt she inflicted. She made him feel unreasonable for simply wanting closeness with his wife after 6 weeks. Sunday afternoon, October 8th, Owen tried playfulness, spontaneous during the day. Sunday afternoons used to be their tradition, full of easy affection. Owen, seriously, it's the middle of the day. That's weird. Weird, something they once cherished together was now weird. He tacked that away, didn't push. Wednesday, October 11th, 8 weeks. He had to know if there was a deeper issue. Dana, is there something going on? It's been almost 2 months. If there's a real problem here, I want to fix it. Her words sliced through him. You're putting too much pressure on this. That's why I don't want to. His fault. His desire for intimacy, after 2 months, was creating pressure. He was the problem. Thursday, October 12th, he tried low-key. No mention of timelines, no pressure. Just a casual approach. I'm exhausted. Can we please just sleep? Last night, she'd been up until 1 a.m. watching TV. Tonight, she was exhausted. Saturday morning, October 14th, both well-rested. I haven't even had coffee yet. Way too early. 9:30 a.m. was too early. Midday was weird. Nighttime, she was too tired. There was no acceptable window, none she was willing to offer. That same evening, a real date night in Fells Point. Good conversation, laughter, hands held across the table. He almost believed something had shifted. They arrived home around 10. He tried one last time. Not tonight. Let's not force it. He said okay, rolled to his side of the bed, and in that quiet, argument-free moment, made a decision. He was done initiating. Done making the first move. If Dana wanted intimacy, she would have to reach for it herself. He was finished offering himself up for rejection. 9 rejections in 17 days. Nearly 8 weeks without physical connection beyond a brief hug. And every attempt to address it turned him into the problem. Too demanding. Creating pressure. Making it weird. So he stopped. Completely. Owen didn't explode. He didn't fire off angry texts or threaten ultimatums he wouldn't keep. He simply decided to stop trying. His quiet resolve, born of patience stretched to its limit, became a wall, invisible but impenetrable. The problem was, Dana never noticed his patience. She was about to reveal just how comfortable she was with his quiet disappearance. Sunday, October 15th, Owen moved through the house pleasantly, helpfully, normally. They ran errands, had lunch, watched a movie on the couch. Every outward semblance of a normal couple remained, except for one thing: Owen maintained a physical distance. No affectionate touches during the movie, no cuddling, no attempts at anything beyond sharing the same room. Dana didn't seem to notice. She appeared entirely comfortable with this new arrangement. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the pattern held. They coexisted, discussed work, planned upcoming dinners. But the wall remained. Not cold or visibly distant, just neutral, like 2 well-behaved roommates. She still didn't notice. Thursday night, watching TV, Dana placed her feet in his lap, as she always had when relaxed. Normally, he would have massaged them, let the moment organically build. This time, he simply let them rest there. He did nothing. She didn't react, didn't glance up, didn't seem to register any difference. She just kept watching TV, completely at ease. That was when the picture sharpened, clear and devastating. She wanted his physical presence, but with zero expectation of connection attached. No effort, no closeness, no ask for anything more than sharing a couch. She didn't want a husband. She wanted a roommate who paid half the bills and created no complications. Sunday, October 22nd, they spent a full day together. Brunch, a long walk along the inner harbor, dinner at home, a movie. The sum total of physical affection for the entire day was a brief handhold outside. Dana seemed genuinely happy, relaxed, content. Owen felt like he was living with a stranger who wore his wife's face, but possessed none of the essence that had made her his wife. By Thursday, October 26th, 2 full weeks had passed since he'd initiated anything. 2 weeks of zero effort from him. 2 weeks of zero response from her. 2 weeks of her not noticing, or not caring, that her husband had completely withdrawn emotionally. He'd waited for a sign, any sign. A question, a reach, a flicker of concern. He kept thinking, surely she has to notice how cold I've become. Nothing. Not a word, not a glance. She was completely at ease. This clarity told him everything he needed to know, even before she spoke. They were in the kitchen, cleaning up after dinner. Dana was humming, noticeably cheerful. She began talking about a festival in Federal Hill, suggesting they go. Light, easy, relaxed, happy. Then she said the words that ended their marriage. You know, I feel like we've been getting along really well lately. Owen set down the plate he was holding. Yeah. What's different? I don't know. You just seem more relaxed, less tense. She was right. He was more relaxed. Because he'd stopped caring. Stopped hoping. Stopped setting himself up for the same rejection every night, then lying awake wondering what he was doing wrong. It's nice. This is how it should be. He stood there, absorbing it. This is how it should be, a marriage where he made no demands, pursued no connection, kept a pleasant, comfortable distance. What do you mean? She smiled, a warm, genuine smile. When we're not all focused on that other stuff, we're actually good together. See, this is how it should be. That other stuff, she meant intimacy. The core of a marital bond, reduced to a nuisance, something annoying and optional she was glad to be rid of. And she was celebrating, humming, smiling, genuinely happy that he had, apparently, given up. He kept his face neutral. Yeah, I guess you're right. But inside, everything clicked into place. She didn't want a husband. She wanted a pleasant roommate who made no demands. And she believed he had accepted this arrangement, settled into it beside her. She had no idea what she had just handed him. That night, after she fell asleep, Owen lay in the dark and began to make plans. She hadn't said she was going through something difficult, hadn't asked for time. She had smiled and declared a marriage without intimacy was how it should be. That wasn't a rough patch. That was a verdict. And he heard it exactly right. No overanalyzing, no trying to convince himself she meant something else. She had handed him the truth, and he believed her. She celebrated one move too early. His exit strategy was forming before she finished that sentence. The next day, a Friday, Owen spent his lunch break calling divorce attorneys. He found one with a Monday afternoon opening. After work, he drove through Canton, looking at apartments, finding a furnished one-bedroom ready for immediate move-in. He scheduled a walkthrough for Saturday morning. Saturday, October 28th, he walked through the small, unremarkable apartment. But it was his. A space where he wouldn't spend every night feeling like wanting normal human connection was a character defect. He signed the lease that afternoon, arranging to move in Monday. Then he called Kyle, his best friend, and told him everything. Kyle was floored, couldn't believe it had come to this. But as Owen recounted the full timeline, the rejections, the rotating excuses, Dana's chilling words in the kitchen, Kyle understood. She actually said she's happier when you stop trying? That's cold, man. What are you going to do? I'm leaving Sunday. Sunday? Don't you think you should talk to her first? I'm going to talk to her right before I leave. That evening, while Dana was out with friends, Owen quietly packed 2 suitcases, enough for a couple of weeks, and loaded them into the trunk of his car. He came back inside and waited. Sunday morning, October 29th. The day everything ended. Dana slept in, coming downstairs around 10 in her pajamas, completely relaxed. She made coffee, scrolled her phone at the kitchen table. Owen watched her from the doorway, absorbed in her small, content world, not a hint of anything weighing on her. She looked up when he sat across from her. Morning. Sleep well, Dana? We need to talk. She set her phone down, attention shifting to him. Okay. What's up? I'm moving out today. Confusion rippled across her face, almost comical given the gravity of the moment. She even let out a short laugh, as if she'd misheard. What? What are you talking about? I've already found an apartment in Canton. I packed last night. I'm moving out today. Is this some kind of joke? Owen, what's going on? He told her what she'd said Thursday night, repeating her words exactly. She tried to backtrack, insisted she only meant they'd been fighting less, that he was taking it the wrong way. We haven't been fighting, he countered, his voice flat, because I gave up. Because I spent 2 full weeks not touching you. Not trying, not asking for anything. And you responded by smiling and telling me this was the marriage you wanted. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. 2 weeks, Dana. I didn't reach for you once, and you were the happiest you'd been in months. You literally smiled and said, that's how it should be. I just like that there was no pressure. There hasn't been pressure. I was patient for 8 weeks. 9 rejections in 17 days. I counted every single one. Her face changed then. You were counting? I was paying attention. There's a difference. So, what? You're leaving because we haven't been intimate enough? I'm leaving because you don't want me, and you're genuinely happy about it. She continued to reframe her words, searching for a version that sounded different. When he finally asked, okay, so how did you mean it then, she had nothing. Just sat there, searching for an angle that didn't exist. That silence was all the answer he needed. You're being dramatic. Every marriage goes through phases. This isn't a phase. This is who you are. You want a roommate, not a husband. The tears started then. Real tears, not performative. A small, distant part of him registered it, but he had spent too many nights after rejection, wondering what was wrong with him. He had already grieved this marriage. Her tears now moved nothing. We can fix this. Fix what? You don't think anything is broken. You were happy. You said so yourself. I'm not happy with you leaving. But you were happy with me giving up. Those aren't the same thing. She asked if they could sit down and really talk it through. He told her they were talking now, and she still hadn't said she actually wanted him, or that she was upset he was leaving, not just upset that she'd spent 2 months shutting him out. The silence that followed confirmed everything. She couldn't say it. She didn't want what she'd been rejecting for months. She just didn't want the inconvenience of dealing with the fallout of him being gone. He got up from the table. I'll be back this week for the rest of my things. Owen, wait. I've waited long enough. 8 weeks, 9 rejections, 2 weeks of you not noticing I'd completely checked out. I'm done, Dana. He walked out, got in his car with the suitcases, and drove to Canton. 3 miles separated him from the woman he'd married, but it felt like a completely different universe already. He hadn't left in a rage, hadn't threatened to go and then lingered, waiting to be talked out of it. He had one calm, honest conversation, gave her the exact reason, and then walked out. No ultimatums, no dramatic speech. Just, you told me this is how it should be, so I made it permanent. Monday afternoon, he met with the divorce attorney. He answered the standard questions with unwavering clarity. Yes, he was sure. No, there was no chance of things changing. The attorney outlined the process, straightforward, no kids, not much to divide. It could be wrapped up in months if she didn't complicate it. Let's file today, Owen said, surprising the lawyer with his resolve. Papers signed, he was told the attorney would contact Dana's legal representation once she retained it. His phone had been ringing all morning, 7 missed calls from Dana, a stack of unopened texts. He sent one response, papers are filed. Attorney will contact you. Tuesday, Dana showed up at his office. The front desk called his extension. He went down, more out of a distant curiosity than anything else. She looked awful, eyes red and swollen, clearly sleepless. A small, far-off tug in his chest lasted a second before he recalled the 9 rejections in 17 days, her smiling face in the kitchen, declaring this is how it should be. We need to talk about this properly. We did talk. You told me what you wanted. I'm giving you exactly that. A life where nobody pressures you for that other stuff. I never said I wanted a divorce. You said you wanted a marriage without intimacy. Same thing. She kept insisting she hadn't meant it. Security guards were watching them, other people in the lobby were noticing. Owen wouldn't do this in front of his colleagues. I need to get back to work. Please don't come here again, Dana. Talk to a lawyer, sign the papers, and let's make this as clean as possible. He walked back to the elevators, leaving her standing there. The flicker of emotion lasted maybe 30 seconds. Then he remembered putting himself out there for 8 straight weeks, getting the door slammed in his face every single time without a second thought. Wednesday, she sent a 2,000-word email. Explanations of her stress, claims of not realizing how bad things were, promises to work harder, be more present, show up differently, if only he'd give her another chance. Promises stacked on more promises. He read it once. She never apologized for the rejections. Never acknowledged her words in the kitchen. Never admitted relief when he stopped trying. Just a long list of excuses wrapped in promises to try harder at something she clearly didn't want. He didn't respond. Thursday, he returned to the house for more of his belongings. Dana was waiting, clearly having prepared. Did you read my email? I did. I'm still leaving. You're not even willing to try? Not even going to work on this? I tried for 8 weeks, Dana. You didn't notice. You didn't care. And when I stopped, you celebrated. There's nothing here to work on. She broke down then, heaving, real sobs that filled the house. Owen kept packing, methodical, steady. The well of his emotional reactions to her tears had run dry. There was nothing left. You've changed. This isn't who you are. I accepted reality. You should try it sometime. 3 more boxes in the car. He left without a hug, without a promise to stay in touch. He simply left. Friday, her attorney contacted his. She wanted to contest the divorce, suggested reconciliation. His answer, through the attorney, no. She texted him that afternoon, "You've changed. You're being cruel." He responded one last time. "I've accepted reality. You should, too." Then he muted her number. Not blocked. Muted. She could send whatever she needed into the void. He wouldn't see it unless he chose to look. It was a silence more disorienting than any argument. Dana had wanted a reaction, proof that he still cared enough to be angry. He gave her nothing. The first few weeks in the new apartment felt strange, unexpectedly so. He'd wake up, momentarily disoriented, then remember where he was. Instead of dread, there was quiet relief. No bracing for another rejection. No calculating whether tonight might be different. No walking on eggshells. Just his own space, his own pace, his own life. The first night he slept through completely felt like a miracle. He hadn't realized how long his body had been on low-level alert. Sleeping without dread made a serious difference. He threw himself into work, earning a promotion within a month, something he'd been striving for but lacked the mental bandwidth to achieve while in survival mode at home. He rejoined the gym, reconnected with friends. He started enjoying his actual life, rather than running a constant internal audit on everything he was apparently doing wrong. Kyle kept him loosely informed of Dana's activities, though Owen never asked. She'd started seeing someone not long after he moved out, met him through work. Her social media filled with posts about new beginnings, fresh starts. He scrolled past one accidentally and felt nothing. No jealousy, no satisfaction, not even curiosity. He had genuinely, cleanly moved on. That indifference was a profound confirmation. 3 months later, in February, the divorce was finalized. Quick, clean, just as the attorney predicted. They split what little there was. She kept the house. He kept his car and his peace of mind. Kyle texted him the day it was official. "You okay, man?" "Better than I've been in a year." And he meant every word. In April, he met Isla at an industry event. She was sharp, genuinely funny, present in conversation, truly listening. They talked for 2 hours about challenges in their fields, losing track of time. She asked for his number. Their first date, the difference was immediate. Isla was engaged, asked real questions, followed up on details. When they said goodnight, she leaned in, made her interest clear. No pulling back, no early morning excuses, no making him feel like he'd overstepped by wanting a decent kiss. On their second date, she invited him to her place. No games, no ambiguity. Lying there afterward, he realized what he'd been missing. Not just the physical, but the feeling of being genuinely wanted, of someone choosing him, clearly, without hesitation, without it feeling like a negotiation or a favor. He'd missed it so long, he'd begun to wonder if he was the problem. He wasn't. Their connection deepened quickly. Isla was affectionate, present, made time even with a packed schedule. She chose him in small, everyday ways, and in the bigger ones that mattered. In July, Owen met Kyle for coffee. Kyle's face changed midway through their conversation. "Dude, you're not going to believe this. Dana reached out to me last week, asked how you were doing." Owen wasn't concerned. Kyle had mentioned Owen was seeing someone. "She completely fell apart," Kyle said. She cried, accused Owen of never fighting for them, of just giving up. Owen genuinely laughed. "I fought for 8 weeks. She didn't notice." Kyle confirmed he'd told her exactly that. Dana had claimed she would have come around eventually. Eventually after what, a year? 2? Owen had wondered. She'd had no answer. Kyle took a sip of coffee. "She also said the thing that bothers her most is how happy you seem now." "I am happy, genuinely." She's been posting too. Passive-aggressive stuff about exes who move on too fast. In her mind, you were supposed to wait around, keep proving how much you wanted her by accepting whatever she gave you. Kyle continued, "And here's the other thing. She's been dating since that first guy, but nothing's sticking. She tells people they're not present enough, too distant. They keep their emotional distance and won't commit." Owen let that sink in. She was experiencing exactly what she'd put him through. "She posts about quality time and presence and all the things she never gave you," Kyle finished. "The universe has a sense of humor." Late July, Owen and Isla walked along the inner harbor, holding hands, laughing, lost in their own world. Then he saw her. Dana, perhaps 20 feet away, standing still, staring. Isla noticed his expression shift. You okay? Yeah, just someone I used to know. Dana walked toward them before he could redirect. He had nothing to hide. He kept his voice easy. Dana. She managed a small hello, her eyes darting between him and Isla, clearly unprepared. Isla, this is Dana, my ex-wife. Dana, this is Isla. The color drained from Dana's face. She hadn't expected to see him so settled, so at ease with someone who so obviously wanted to be there. Isla, who had no idea who Dana was, offered a genuine, warm greeting. An uncomfortable silence stretched. Owen saw Dana taking it all in, the closeness between him and Isla, their easy comfort, something he and Dana hadn't shared in the last year of their marriage. Well, we should get going. Take care of yourself, Dana. He gently guided Isla away, feeling Dana's eyes on their backs. Isla waited until they were well clear. That was your ex-wife? Yeah. She seemed upset. Not my problem anymore. Fair enough. A short pause. You okay? He stopped, turned to face her, took both her hands. I'm better than okay. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. She kissed him right there on the walkway, choosing him again, in that simple, easy moment, without a second of hesitation. A week later, Kyle texted, Dana had sent Owen something recently, suggested he might want to check it. He'd ignored that muted thread for months, probably 60 or 70 unread messages by then. He opened it, scrolled to the most recent one. I understand now. I'm sorry. He sat with that for a long time, considering a response, laying out everything that Stretch had cost him, the sleepless nights, the constant questioning of his worth, how deeply the rejections had worn into something he couldn't easily name. Instead, he typed one sentence. I hope you find what you're looking for. Her response came back almost immediately. I had it. I just didn't realize until it was gone. He read it twice, felt absolutely nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, no vindication. Just nothing. She'd figured it out, on the wrong side of too late. That was her burden to carry now, not his. He didn't respond. He blocked the number, deleted the entire thread. That chapter, closed for good. Dana had wanted a marriage where Owen stopped reaching, stopped pursuing, stopped asking for closeness. Where he maintained a comfortable, friendly distance, never making anything feel like pressure. He gave her exactly that, his complete and total absence. She had celebrated when he stopped trying, smiled in their kitchen, and told him this is how it should be. So he made it permanent, gave her all the space she wanted. It turned out she had never truly done the math on what that looked like long-term. She had a man who wanted nothing more than to connect with her, to build something real, who kept trying for 8 solid weeks before quietly accepting what she was showing him. She made him feel like having completely normal human needs was a burden, choosing comfortable avoidance over honesty. Now, she navigated a world reflecting her own choices. There had been no affair, no disaster, no obvious falling out of love. She simply stopped wanting closeness with her own husband, made him feel wrong for wanting it back, and was genuinely surprised when he finally believed her. She had her chances, 9 of them across 17 days, every single time she said no, then smiled when he finally stopped asking. So he gave her what she wanted. A life without him in it. What is the true cost of comfortable avoidance?